Hey guys, this is Zero Budget Geek, and welcome to another episode of Sentinels of the Multiverse Hero Guides. Today we are taking a look at Visionary. Now, Visionary is one of the most powerful characters in the game, but not in the way that most people would think. Her greatest strength lies in supporting the other characters and controlling the flow of the game. She can do that with so many abilities, and we're going to look at them right now. First, we're going to take a look at her base power, which is Enlightened. One player draws 2 cards, then discards 1 card. So at first you'd probably be using this on yourself to try to get the cards that you want, but bear in mind that you can use this ability on other players to improve their hands. It's just a very useful ability that you're going to use, really throughout the game, even after she gets other powers in play. So let's take a look at the cards that she has. So, the very first card we're going to look at here is Brain Burn, which is a very situational card. It puts cards from the villain trash on the bottom of the villain deck, and then Visionary will receive damage equal to the number of cards that were removed this way. Now, this is very situational because, well, number one, you don't really want to be doing damage to yourself because Visionary does have lower hit points than the other players. But this can be very useful as many villains, take advantage of the number of cards in their discard pile, whether they get cards back from the discard pile, they're counting on a number of cards being in there. This card will let you get around that at the cost of some life. And then we have Cerebral Hemorrhage. So now Visionary has quite a few cards that do damage, but those really are secondary to her other abilities, but they are there. So in Cerebral Hemorrhage, we have a card that deals up to 3 targets 2 psychic damage each, which is okay for some targeted damage. And then we have Decoy Projection here, which is one of her few defensive cards. It counts as a hero target and it has 5 hit points, and whenever Visionary would take damage, you redirect it to this card. This is very useful as cards like the Brain Burn we just looked at. Brain Burn normally does damage to yourself, but if you have the Decoy Projection in play, that would take the damage instead, so you can use that to get around some of the drawbacks of her cards. Here we have Demoralisation, which is one of the few attack cards that I usually use. It's an ongoing limited card, so you can only have one in play. But at the start of your turn, Visionary will deal each villain target 1 psychic damage. Now, if there's some damage reduction in play on the villain's part, then this could render this useless, but it's nice to have some automatic damage that you don't have to worry about. You only want to play this card if you have nothing else better to play. We're going to get to a better cards in a second. So here we have Foresight. It's an ongoing limited, and you get to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put one in your hand, one on the top of your deck, and one on the bottom of your deck. This is a nice card. It's okay, but generally Enlightened, her base power is usually better than this, and you don't have to waste time playing a card. So this takes a backseat to Enlightened most of the time. Here we have Masslevitation. Now, one of Visionary's weaknesses is environment cards. She does not have cards to remove them, and this is her only answer to environment cards, where it's a power, and until the start of her next turn she can reduce damage dealt by environment cards by 3. So it's better than nothing, but usually you want to remove the offending cards. And we have Mental Divergence, one of her top cards. It's an ongoing card that you can keep in play, and its power is destroy 1 ongoing card or take 1 ongoing card from a hero trash and put it on top of that hero's deck. So either way you use this, it's going to be very powerful. The ability to destroy an ongoing card every single turn is very powerful, and a lot of villains rely on ongoing cards, so this really takes the bite out of that. And even if there's no ongoing cards in play, this card is not wasted because you'll be able to get cards back from the hero trash. So either way you use this, very good card. You want to get this in play pretty much as soon as possible. Here we have Mind Spike, which does 3 damage to a single target. Very good targeted removal. 3 damage is nothing to sneeze at, but you have better things to be doing than doing damage. And here's one of those cards, Precognition. you get to review the top 3 cards of the villain deck, and then you get to put 1 on top of the villain deck and 2 on the bottom of the villain deck. This is extremely invaluable. With this card, you get to dictate what what's gonna come next, out of the 3 cards. And if 2 of those cards are really nasty, or 1 of them is really nasty, you can put it on the bottom of the villain deck and probably not see it that entire game, or at the very least you're gonna know what's coming, and your teammates can prepare for it. So you play cards like this before you play damage cards. Here we have another one, Prophetic Vision. Review the top 3 cards of the environment deck, put 1 on top of the environment deck and 2 on the bottom of the environment deck. Just like the Precognition, this lets you dictate what the environment's going to do on the next turn, while giving you foresight of what's happening. So I can't say enough about this card, and really this is Visionary's only other way to deal with environment cards. Here we have Psychic Maelstrom. Lets you do 2 damage to all non-hero targets. It's okay, but again, you're better off playing the Prophetic Vision and Precognition than doing damage to villain targets. And Suggestion, which is one of her more powerful cards. You get to select 2 cards from the villain trash, put 1 on top of the villain's deck and 1 on the bottom. Now, why would you want to be giving cards back to them? Well, first of all, you want to pick a card that is not going to do much for the villain, or it's going to hurt the heroes least. And if you have, let's say you have the Mental Divergence in play, well then, put an ongoing card back on top of their deck, and then as soon as they play it, you destroy it with Mental Divergence, thereby basically wasting a turn for them. So Suggestion basically, sets them back a turn, because they're going to have to waste, the villain's going to have to waste a turn drawing the card and playing that card, and you're gonna be already prepared for it in most cases. Here we have Telekinetic Cocoon, which makes Visionary immune to damage, but she will not be able to play cards or use powers at the start you cannot play cards or use power, and then at the start of your turn you can choose to destroy this card or leave it in play. So generally you only want to use this card if you're low on health, or if you have a bunch of powers in play. So if you have a Mental Divergence in play and you have a Demoralisation in play, you can kind of go into your Cocoon and you'll still be doing damage each turn, and you'll be able to deal with ongoing cards, meanwhile making yourself immune to damage. So very, very nice card. You're only gonna use it in specific situations, but it can be very, very valuable, especially when you're low on health. Here we have Twisty Either. One of her many go-to cards. You play this card next to a target, so you can put this on either a hero or villain target, or even an environment card, and whenever that target would do damage, you can change the type of damage it is, and you can either reduce it or increase it by 1. So you can put this on a character like maybe Tempest, who does mass damage to multiple targets, and he'll increase that damage, or you can put it on a problematic villain card and reduce the damage it does, or change the type, maybe change it to something you're immune to, or use this to get around an immunity that a villain has. So very, very versatile card that can do a lot for your team. Rest of Mind is one of her most powerful cards. You play this next to a target, and whenever that target would deal damage, you can redirect that damage to another target, including itself, and then Visionary will take 3 psychic damage for doing that. And once that target is destroyed, then you lose this card. So you can put this on a powerful villain card and have it destroy itself, or attack the other villain cards. So many things that you can do with this, but probably one of her go-to cards, especially if a villain card comes up that does a lot of massive damage. You can do this to redirect that. Just be aware that you're gonna deal 3 psychic damage to yourself for each instance of damage, and combine with the Telekinetic Cocoon, then you can kind of keep it up indefinitely. So that's Visionary in a nutshell. She's definitely a straight up support character. You don't really want to be using her attack cards unless you really have to. Essentially you're just going to be sitting back and trying to control the flow of the game with her prophetic cards. So that'll be it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check the annotations and the description box for links to more episodes in this series, and until my next video, see you soon.